The United States. The US of A. The greatest place on the planet. Baseball, hot dogs, the most rich and famous. Other countries pale in comparison to our glorious red, white, and blue. This is America. What a perfect country. But what if I told you that this nation was built by people who weren't considered people? What if I told you that America is only beautiful because of the ugliest act in history? What if I told you that it took hundreds of years for the act to end? And even after, these people struggled to be considered equal. To this day, people are still treated unfairly.
All men are created equal, yet many are denied equal treatment.
A long, long way to go.
Pursue their full measure of happiness.
Too long delayed is justice denied.
So, what's free? Let's celebrate Juneteenth. The right way.
When did you learn about Juneteenth?
My mother is a very, very big fan of Black history. So I knew as young as I want to say like 8 or 9. My mom asked me, did I know what it was? And I said no. And she asked me, was it taught did I hear about it in school? And I said no. So she sat me down at the computer and she looked it up.
To be quite honest, I learned about Juneteenth about 2 years ago. It wasn't a very big thing that was taught in school.
It's supposed to be a celebration of your freedom, your rights, the accomplishments of various African Americans throughout history.
When I realized, wow, this has been a thing for many years that's not talked about, I decided to do more research into it. So
it is a reflection on the struggles that African Americans have gone through.
I fell in love with the holiday. I think it's a holiday that should very much be explored more and celebrated more.
They show a lot of documentaries about African American history and African history. So many of our youth today don't have a clue that African Americans have played a vital role in the progress of the country.
January 1st, 1863, Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation set the slaves free. But the news was slow to reach some slaves because the slave owners supposedly wanted the slaves to have a final cotton harvest.
They did whatever they wanted to. They treated us worse than their livestock. Being an African American and seeing others go through what they have gone through, the prejudices, just simply for their skin color is unbelievable.
To control a people, you have to do 2 things. You deny them their connection with their God, take away their connection with their ancestors. The second thing you do is strip them of their identity. You strip them of their history.
It was not until Juneteenth or June 19th, 1865, when Gordon Granger, a U.S. military officer, let many slaves in Texas know they were free.
It was a step in the right direction for our rights. It was a progressive step in the right direction for us getting that piece of the pie known as the American economy.
what does that look like? I would feel confused. We can say now, oh, we're living amazing, it's great, we have freedom. But to look at history and to compare it to now, it's kind of like, well, we've grown, but we haven't gone as far as we would like to.
It's not always, in my opinion, a celebration of a completion of our struggle for freedom.
And even after they were free, they were still not equal. They were in many cases still not seen as people. They did not have the same rights, the same privileges, the same opportunities.
When the slaves were freed, again, they weren't just, you're free, go on about your business. I don't think anyone thought about, all right, we've got 200 slaves, they're free, what do they do? And the slaves certainly didn't know what to do, so many of them just stayed where they were because that's what they knew.
All they knew was slavery. You can go here, you can do this, you can start your own farm, you can do all these things. But if all you know is picking cotton and slavery, you don't know where to start. You wouldn't know where to start.
I was born with slave hymns implanted in the back of my brain. No proclamation can claim to clean the slate of my pain. You call it freedom, as if it is easily defined, when slave plantations have been replaced by prison yards and whips have been curved into handcuffs. Pistol-whipped kids bleeding, pleading for their lives.
The places I've been throughout the world, I've still faced some kind of prejudice or discrimination. Unfortunately, I've experienced it more in America.
That because you're not given what this group of people are given, that you're automatically gonna fail. But it's an attempt.
The struggle never really ended when you say free. There are certain stores you can go to today, now, that if you walk into that store and it's in an area where very few blacks go, you will be watched. The residue of racism is still lingering.
Though the end of slavery was a big step in the right direction, many more challenges came, such as black codes, minstrel shows, the Ku Klux Klan, systemic racism, segregation, police brutality, and many other barriers have denied us the rights we all value. The truth is that all men are not created equally, but my vine and fig tree sit idly, waiting for the day I am forced to sit underneath it. What does it mean to be free? When you are afraid to walk down the street, scared to make eye contact because you don't want your glare to become an allegation.
It's still lingering. When you look at the number of African Americans who've been murdered by the police.
Prison industrial complex, war on drugs. We dealt with black codes, economic discrimination, as you know, Black Wall Street back in the early 1900s.
Well, remember, the early police were actually began as slave catchers.
There are different neighborhoods that get different resources of textbooks, and they just get a lot more things that can push them to be better in society that they don't give certain neighborhoods.
The list can go on and on and on, but like for the most part, I think that mainly is the prison industrial complex. That's modern day Jim Crow, is the prison industrial complex, is the drug war.
I feel like a lot of people have hidden their true intentions when it comes to certain races. The racial inequality, it's all systematic because people are gonna feel how they feel. And unfortunately, we can't change the minds of people, but we can change the systems that were created because of those emotions.
Hate is deep-rooted like this tree. It's stable in the ground it was made on. It's not easy to just change. You can't tell the tree to move and expect it to listen, and even if you cut down the tree, there's millions waiting to stand over you and remind you that you are outnumbered. Discrimination and inequality is no different.
The goal was to get up north because they thought, if I get up north, I'm free and no one's gonna bother me. That's not the case. They were still lynched, were still spit on, beat, killed, chased, didn't matter.
This land is your land? This land is my land? This same land. For almost 250 years, the newly formed United States benefited off of free slave labor.
Me personally, I don't want anything in return other than the respect for the individual I am as a black man. I don't care about getting money. I don't think that that's gonna solve anything, and it's not an answer to me. You couldn't pay me to now accept that slavery is okay.
This land was made wealthy and rich off of those scars of those African slaves. There are corporations still today that are profiting off of those same practices. We are standing on the same seeds that our ancestors planted.
So just the word freedom, telling someone they're free doesn't necessarily make them free. They have to understand what freedom means.
The word free has to be looked at in relative terms. Yes, we're free, but there are places right now that you and I can get in the car and go in Houston, park our car and walk through a certain neighborhood, and we'll be followed.
In a lot of my classes, I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me. These girls at the time who, for some reason, felt threatened by me. I still don't get why to this day.
It may seem better, but again, with those systems that are already in place, it's kind of like, I sense that there's something there.
Men are entitled to the blessings of liberty, yet millions are being deprived of those blessings.
Race is not the only issue which confronts our world, and Negroes are not the only Christians who are in need of justice.
People have died. People are dying. There are knees on necks. There are hashtags. Textbooks tell half my stories while movies show my tears. Not my resilience, only my fears. I am tired of the suffering, tired of my pain being used as your promotion. I am tired of my life, my name only meaning something when I am gone, and I am still black. I am Juneteenth.
One of the things that seems like a contradiction, let me say this, that I still think we have the greatest democracy in the world. I've been to other countries, and when I couldn't wait to get back to America, kiss the ground.
Abraham Lincoln wasn't this crusader. It is important that we tell the raw, honest truth when it comes to the individuals that made these decisions across the course of time.
There needs to be a focus, whether it's African Americans learning about their history or Asians learning about their history. I think no one should be denied their beginnings, their roots.
Freedom to me is a whole lot more than just a granted benefit to do what I want to do. Freedom to me isn't also legalized system to say we can no longer own you.
I think that we have some flaws in our democracy, but we should not abandon it. I like living in this country, but we have a long way to go.
Juneteenth is the official celebration of when slaves were free. But it should also be a reminder to better our current situation.
If they knew that we've done more than what we've been told.
Well, because of how I look and because the color of my skin, maybe I can't do that.
We may have freedom, but we are not free. We are still being mistreated by police, racists, and the system.
Freedom, to me, is equality in all aspects of society, whether it be socioeconomic status, whether it be social status.
Having peace with being in your environment and in your society.
But I believe that we can better our circumstances.
The right to have a choice, the right to make your own decisions, the right to educate yourself to make those decisions.
Another Juneteenth passed, and nothing but an apology. We are not free until we reach true equality.
Free from being exploited, free from the danger of being murdered based upon skin color or religion or any belief. The right to be alive and to dream.
And when that day comes, and I do have faith that it will come, we will rejoice and be proud of where we are from.